Hi friends, Mindy here. Today I'm going to be working in my little art journal, and this is a journal I created a while ago. I will try to link the video down below. And then just the other day I made some mixed media little tags and that I thought would work really well in this journal, so that's what I'm going to be using today. I'm turning to this page to kind of have the same colors. This was actually leftover paint from when I actually created those mixed media tags, and I'll link that below as well. And this paper that is right here is some Tomoe River paper, so it's really thin and it kind of has a coating, so I have to be careful. I can't do a whole lot to it. I'm not sure how well it will stand up to a lot of different mediums, so I'm just gonna kind of be careful with how much I add to it because I don't want the paper to tear or anything. I know it's pretty thick paper and it's coated, so it should take a good bit, but I don't want to push it too far. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is I'm getting out my little paint palette there, very fancy paper plate, and some paint, and I'm going to use this bubble wrap. I used this again when I was creating the tags, and I still have it sitting on my desk, so I thought I would just go ahead and add some of this white to try to bring some of the elements that are kind of on the tag into the background and make this seem more like it's one cohesive piece. And then I'm just putting some excess over on that other page just to give me a start for when I start working on that other page. And now I'm just kind of looking at this tag, seeing what I need to do. I want to make sure everything is really dry here, because I'm going to take this stamp, and it's just like a text, kind of a typewriter font stamp, and I'm just using some archival ink in black and very haphazardly stamping this down into the background. I'm just kind of trying to push those layers into the background, and then I wanted to add a little bit of color, that kind of magenta color. The color that I'm using is called Razzleberry, I think. It's like an Americana. It's just a cheap paint, and I'm using this through a Tim Holtz stencil. And you can see it's pretty dark, but I'm going to go ahead and just apply this in 2 or 3 places here, just to kind of bring that same color back into the background. I really love this stencil. It's a lot of fun to work with. And then I'm just going to clean this off on the page over here onto the left. And again, that just gives me something to start with the next time. I thought it was going to print a little bit more than that, but I guess I didn't have a lot of paint on there. So when I clean the stencil, I'm just going to use my baby wipe here, and then you kind of get the negative impression. So that Razzleberry had a little too much razzle in it for me, so I'm just taking some gesso, some white gesso, and I watered it down a little bit and creating a wash over those 3 areas just to kind of lighten that color up a little bit. And I just kind of wiped it off with a paper towel, and I like the design that it left up there in that top left hand corner. And I decided I was going to bring that same color, since it's a little bit brighter than what's actually on the tag. I'm just going to bring a little bit of that just with my finger, just around the edges of the tag there, and that will just kind of help it pop up off the page when I glue it down. Now I am going to create a border, and I'm doing this with a Pitt Artist pen. This is the brush nib, and the reason I'm doing this, I was looking for my black paint pen and I couldn't find one. You could certainly do it with a paint pen, but I'm just going to do it with this, partially because I know that it won't bleed, and also because the black in these markers is really dark, and that's something some other markers like Microns, they're not as black as the Pitt Artist pens. So here I thought I was just going to do 3 sides. I'm drying this. Let me mention that, because like I said, this paper is coated, and so it's just going to take a little bit for that ink to dry, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't smear it everywhere. So I thought I was just going to do the 3 sides, and then I ended up changing my mind, so now I'm just going to fill in this 4th side next to the spine, just creating a border all the way around. And again, just using my heat tool to dry that off. And then now what I have is, this is a Uni Posca paint pen. I love this. Is probably my favorite paint pen, and the white on it is really opaque. And this is like the bold tip one. if you find that it's not as opaque as you'd like it to be, it's probably because it needs to be shaken up a little bit more. So that's what I was doing there. You can kind of already see the difference in how much brighter white that is. This is one of my favorite white markers of all time. So I usually have several of them sitting around. So I'm just going to trace around the line between the border and the actual background and just kind of create another layer there. And it doesn't matter, you know, you don't have to be too super careful. I'm just kind of going along there because it will cover, this pen will even cover that in the India ink from the Faber-Castell pen. So just going along here. I needed to smooth up this line just a little bit, and I wanted to make sure it was nice and bright. And then I had actually smeared a little bit of white on there, so I just fixed that. And again, just drying everything to make sure everything is completely 100% dry. And then I'm using that wash that I had created earlier just to kind of add some white splatters, and I'm letting that go over into the border just to, again, kind of keep everything really cohesive, and I just like how that looks. And now I'm going to add my little tag here, and I used my Dymo embossing label maker here to, and I typed out the word faithful, and I'm going to be gluing that down here, but I want to include as part of the scripture in Lamentations 3 where it talks about his mercies are new every morning, and it says great is thy faithfulness. I'm just kind of paraphrasing a couple of verses up here, just kind of writing it real, not necessarily, you know, in my best handwriting. I don't want to say sloppy, but anyway, I'm just kind of including that up there so that I know what this page was about. And it's just kind of how I was feeling today, just very grateful. So I went ahead and glued this down with my ATG gun, and then I'm going to stick this label down here kind of across the tag and into the background so that it brings everything together. And at this point I thought I was finished, and then I decided that no, I need to add a little bit of white around this word here, and it's just going to help kind of pull that idea of the background and the border all together. So I'm going around, like tracing around it, and then I'm just kind of adding some sketchy lines as well. And that will finish my page. So, and then, oh, I'm tracing the heart as well. So if you liked this video, I would really appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. That really helps my channel. And until next time, bye-bye.